Welcome to Gen Next at Home. Story mapping. I'm Bree Boyer, former 24G social media coordinator and now Fuel copywriter. As a copywriter, I craft client stories daily, and as a creative, I write poetry, prose, essays, and more every chance I get. At 24G, storytelling is crucial to the companies we're made of, who use the art of story to communicate key findings to automotive and corporate professionals, immerse users in brand experiences, and connect folks to the items they resonate with the most. Now that you understand the importance of a well-written story, let's get started on yours. You'll need our Gen Next at Home story map worksheet and a printer, a writing utensil, a smartphone, or another audio recording device. Keep in mind that no materials are truly required for this practice, as storytelling has been traditionally passed down verbally. We really just need your creative ideas. Alright, let's get to ideating. Step 1, you need a character. Who do you want your story to be about? You can always add more characters later, but defining your main character is a huge first step. If you already know, write them down here or think on it more. Since I'm at the 24G office, I'm thinking of making the 24G crew my characters for this story. But don't let reality hold you back. You're welcome to pull your character completely from your imagination. Just consider, this may eventually require research depending on if your story will become realistic or historical fiction compared to a total fantasy piece. Step 2. You need an adventure, journey, or quest. What's the goal of your story? What does your character set out to do? In my example, I think it could be interesting to tell the story of a team member who'd like to start up a new season of our 24G Bowling League. If you know the general place your character seeks to get to, write that down now. Step 3. Setting. Where does your story take place? Mine's obvious, the Thunderbird Lanes at 24G HQ. If you've got more than one location, write them all down here. When contemplating locations, it helps to consider the end result of this piece. If this is a comic, a novel, or something in between, you have the freedom to let your imagination run wild. If this is a screenplay or something you'd like to act out, keep in mind that you may be limited to locations within your travel budget. Step 4. Enter plot map. And we're on to the rising action. What key points lead up to your character's main challenge? Well, first, let's say Aaron wants to start a bowling league. Y'all catch that? I just decided on my main character right now. Feel free to fill in your missing boxes when inspiration strikes. Then, Erin is going to recruit some bowlers. She'll need to create a kickoff event, then boom, we're at the climax of the story. The bowling league begins. Step 5, the challenge. You can't have a good story without some conflict. That's what keeps it realistic and interesting. So, how can we spice things up a bit? What if, the day of the opening event, all the bowling lanes mysteriously malfunctioned? How would the crew come together for the solve? It's been said that the best stories write themselves. When determining your conflict, try to stay within what feels natural to the story. If your story is about a fox who breaks his promise to stay out of their neighborhood farms, a conflict of a sudden alien invasion might not make the most sense. Most importantly, a good conflict should shape the character's development, giving them an opportunity to grow. Step 6. The falling action. What happens after the main challenge presents itself? How does your story wrap up? In my story, the day is saved when Ethan of the Gen Next team remembers the digital bowling lane he built in Scratch. He rushes back to his desk, grabs his laptop, and shares his most recent block code bowling alley with the team. Before you know it, everyone is building their own personal bowling lane, and the league unexpectedly launches with a round of block code bowling. Step 7. The resolution. How is the challenge overcome? What conclusions could your readers come to upon finishing your story? In our case, we showed determination and understanding when we chose to stick out the launch party when things didn't go as expected. We also showed our team's ingenuity when we quickly pivoted to a digital solution, a practice we're quite familiar with at 24G. What big ideas does your story leave behind? Guess what? If you got this far, you've just authored a story map. High fives all around. Step 8. Recording your story. Now that your story map is completed, practice telling it out loud to get all the details just right. You can do this by accessing the Voice Memo or Voice Recorder app on most Android and Apple devices. I prefer my Zoom H4n Handy Recorder. Typically, these tracks would serve as your first iteration of author's notes, especially if you're planning to expand the concept into a complete novella or script. If by some miracle your first take turns out great, it can even become your story's official audiobook track or video narration. We'll cover all the ins and outs of storytelling in a future episode. Head to our story mapping Pinterest board for more project details. Share your stories with us on your favorite social sites using the 24GenNext hashtag for a chance to be featured. Until next time, happy tales!